According to a famous legend, one day assassins hid in the shadows to kill a Chinese emperor. The setup was perfect. The emperor's carriage arrived. Arrows flew. But instead of hiding, the emperor supposedly jumped out of the carriage, ripped open his robe, pointed straight at his own chest and shouted, "Shoot here!" After that, nobody dared to fire another arrow. That man was Zhao Kuangyin, the founder of China's Song Dynasty. He ruled during one of the most dangerous periods in Chinese history when generals kept overthrowing emperors. Europe had the collapse of Rome. China had this: 14 emperors in 50 years. In times like this, chaos has a dangerous habit of promoting the toughest man in the room. And Zhao Kuangyin, who wasn't even born royal, broke the cycle. Even when he was just a junior officer, stories about him spread everywhere. One tale says a wild horse threw him so hard into a roof beam people heard the crack. Zhao simply stood up and kept riding. Another says he rescued a kidnapped woman and escorted her hundreds of miles home. When she offered to marry him in gratitude, he refused and said, "If I took advantage of you now, I'd be no better than the man who kidnapped you." But chivalry alone doesn't turn a junior officer into an emperor. Zhao pulled off what might be the most Oscar-worthy coup in medieval history. When their ruling emperor died, he left behind a 7-year-old son on the throne. In the middle of political chaos, that's like blood in the water. Officially, Zhao was asleep in his military tent. Suddenly, soldiers barged in carrying a yellow imperial robe. They draped it over him, knelt, and called him emperor. Zhao acted completely horrified. "No, stop! You're forcing me to betray my honor." Right. But just when everyone expected the usual medieval bloodbath, Zhao did something rare. Before marching back to seize power, he made his soldiers swear to 3 rules. Nobody hurts civilians, nobody loots, nobody touches the family of the previous emperor. The result? A shockingly peaceful coup by medieval standards. One general ignored the order and killed the family. Zhao punished him and never promoted him again. Most new rulers would have wiped out the previous emperor's family to eliminate threats, but Zhao protected them. He even promised that nobody could ever search their homes. The protection was so well enforced that people later abused it to hide criminals in there. Zhao also never really acted like a distant ruler. He loved disguising as a commoner to see how ordinary people were living. Paranoia is cheap. Any frightened man can do it. But leaving your enemies alive, that's a luxury. Because mercy takes confidence. Now that Zhao became the emperor, he had a bigger problem. China kept collapsing precisely because generals like himself kept overthrowing emperors. Right now, another general was probably looking at him, thinking, I can do that. So how does he end a cycle like that without just executing everyone? His solution began with a dinner party that belonged in a political thriller. He summoned all his top generals to a banquet. Some of them probably walked in sweating. History was full of stories of bloody banquets that ended with everyone dead. But the wine wasn't poisoned. Everyone relaxed. Then midway through dinner, Zhao suddenly started crying. "Ever since I became emperor," he said, "I haven't had a good night's sleep. I look at all of you, my brothers, and I trust you completely. But what about your soldiers? What if they wrapped you in a yellow robe someday? Could you really say no?" His message was clear. He promised the generals safety and comfort, and his words carried weight. One by one, they stepped away from military command. And just like that, one of the most chaotic periods in Chinese history began to end. No purge, no bloodshed, over drinks. This was a man who scared assassins, protected former enemies, and started a dynasty that lasted for 300 years. And honestly, if this guy were European, Hollywood probably would have made 6 movies already. Thank you for watching.